not an eye-opener. We know the type of team we're capable of being. I was telling them boys late in the fourth, like, thank God it happened. Like, we ready to go. We should have been ready to go from the bye, but, NFL will humble you. NFL will humble you. We went on a little run early. It's about how you finish the season. Let's finish the right way.
Welcome into Jags A.M. The NFL will humble you. This team got humbled against the 49ers on Sunday. Brian Sexton, John Oehser with me here today, and we're going to recap a little bit of what went down. We talked about that on Monday, but then we'll start to kind of turn the page a little bit and focus on the Titans. Brian, we're going to talk about some big things a little bit, but it's one of those where you need to still talk about it and acknowledge it because it was that bad.
Well, and we're going to hear from Rayshawn Jenkins on this, and I thought he had it down right, and he's one of the leaders in this locker room, is that you better let that sharpen you, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you better let that grate on you, cause you some pain so that you can grow through it and figure it out. And I think just on conversations that I've had with guys the last 2 days, I think they all would agree.
Yeah, I'm not a big burn the tape guy or bury it or whatever you do with it when it's that bad. I think they will learn from it. I'm more of the opinion, I guess I've seen a lot of good teams lose a lot of games and lose some in bad fashion. I saw the Colts lose here and they gave it 375 yards rushing, winning the Super Bowl, and people get tired of that analogy. So, it's one time, but it shows you that it happens, and it's important not to forget that this team has won 11 of its last 14 games. You can't forget that you got, boat raced the other day, but you also can't forget that the things you're doing are good enough to get you to 11-3, which back in the 14-game season is the number one seed. So don't lose sight of that either.
Well, can you do what the Cowboys did, right? And the Lions. Both of them won their next 2 games after being blanked. I mean, just absolutely. The Niners took apart the Cowboys. The Ravens demolished the Lions. And both of them are on winning streaks. The Cowboys lost in Philly, but they've won 3 of 4. Can you rebound like that? I think the answer is yes. We'll find out on Sunday.
It's not. I always hate to use a college football analogy because I don't think this town is a college football town like that, the way people say it is.
Not like it once was.
But if you lose 37-3 in college football, you stink.
Yeah.
In the NFL, that's not how it is. You can lose like that. To pull an analogy from way back, one of the best teams of all time, the 49ers, lost 40-8 to Philadelphia in 1994 and then basically ran the table the rest of the way, and are one of the all-time great teams. That's 30 years ago, guy.
You go back more recently with the Patriots
all the
did.
Time.
Got their doors blown off in Kansas City in 2018, and they won the Super Bowl.
Right. Also lost once 31-0 in the opener and won the Super Bowl. So it happens. It's the old cliche. It's what you do now moving forward. You bet.
Let's go over some of our big things for us today. Our first big thing is schooled. They got schooled against the 49ers. There's no doubt about that. But also, moving forward, using that as motivation, kind of sitting on it and helping it, help you get prepared as you move forward. Rayshawn Jenkins talked a little bit about it yesterday.
How that went down in that fashion yesterday, I would say kind of just letting that linger around just a little bit more. You got to feel, those type of losses just a little bit more. Where the level of play has to be moving forward, and I wouldn't say we're getting that one out of the building too quick, but I mean, most certainly by Wednesday.
John, you let it linger a little bit, but now it's Wednesday, so you turn the page as well. How much of it is going to be just the start of this week being like, yes, acknowledge it and move forward?
Well, it's over now. It's when they walk in the building today, it needs to be in the past. You let it motivate you. I think it's inside of you all week that you don't want to come out and play like that. You particularly don't want to come out and play like that in front of your fans. I think we forget sometimes, because we see all the games, and we're into it all the time, how important the home games are for fans who are touching this team and feeling a part of it. You're 1-3 at home. I sort of discounted it last week. You need to play well at home, and you need to be walking out of Everbank Stadium on Sunday with a better feeling. And what happened needs to be if you're thinking about turning the iPad off at 9:30 or 8:30, maybe you think back on what happened on Sunday and give it another 15. You know what I mean? And a little extra motivation.
Well, one of my favorite quotes is from Sir Winston Churchill, who once was fond of saying, facts are stubborn things, right? So you can turn the page, but you can't ignore the fact that you didn't stop the run, that you didn't run the ball very well. And it's important in this case because your opponent's going to come in knowing exactly what the facts are about you. So you've got to carry those facts with you, not letting them, beat you up, but at the same time, not putting them down and saying, well, don't worry about those anymore. The fact is the fact. They don't run the ball very well. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. And they didn't stop the run very well on Sunday, and they didn't get good pressure, and they turned the ball over too much. If you take those things and you focus on them this week, in the light of, because the Titans are coming in focusing on them, you'll be fine. You'll handle it the right way.
Little soccer reference.
Ooh.
Sir Winston Churchill.
Soccer. British for sure.
Oh, we're not in London anymore. We're going to move on from that one. But it did feel like they were kicking the can down the road with some of the issues, and it did catch up big time against the 49ers. Our second big thing this week is strong suit. Talk a little bit about the running game. Travis Etienne has been amazing this season, but overall as a team, they haven't been running the ball very well, and that really hurt them, John, in that game against the San Francisco. They couldn't get anything going.
Well, I think Brian mentioned it in the quick thought that he wrote for this week. Travis Etienne's a good running back. They're not a good running team right now. It's impressive that they have, I think it's 8 rushing touchdowns, which is a good number and very indicative of a good team. They've stuck with it when it's been difficult. Travis has given them some touchdowns that maybe as a team, I don't say they didn't earn. That's not fair.
No, I think that's the right way to say it.
But Travis Etienne has given them some touchdowns that if he wasn't special, maybe they don't have. I think they've got to stick with it. I think they've got to get a little better at it. I don't expect them to be the Eagles, who are a run-centric team. No. But he's too good, and they're too good when he's right to let him not be a part of it. Does that make sense?
Hey, look, yeah, it does. Go back to that play in which Tank Bigsby had the ball go off his hands. Joey Bosa, forces Trevor out of the pocket, and I think it was a bad decision to throw the ball. But it's 3rd and a yard. 3rd and a yard on their side of the field, and you can't get a yard? Well, you can't. We have the numbers. The Jaguars, look at these numbers, folks. The Jaguars on 3rd down and 1, 2, and 3, abysmal. You ought to be over 80% on 3rd down and 1. And you ought to be somewhere much better than 25% on 3rd and 2. 3 out of 5, 60% on 3rd and 3, that number ought to be higher also. But 3rd down and 1, you're only 11-17 on the year. Ugh, that's got to change.
Problems are people know that too, so you can tell by the way defenses are scheming up against them.
Well, I think part of it's just a confidence level, right? I don't know that there's a lot of confidence. And not to harp on it, but we've talked about it, John, since the opener, that the interior of the offensive line, which has featured 3 different starting left guards, and they've obviously had an issue with Brandon Sheriff, who has struggled through an ankle injury, but the interior of that line doesn't give you confidence that they can gain it, which makes it really much easier for Mike Vrabel and the Titans to come in and put Jeffrey Simmons right over the center on Sunday and say, you're not getting it today either.
Yeah, the easy thing to say is, well, 3rd and 1, just run it twice. But they've had situations where they've done that and it's not worked. So, yeah, when you follow teams closely, there are a lot of situations where the coaches historically, it's not as much today, but coaches historically say, if we can't get a yard on 3rd and 1, we don't deserve to win. Yeah. Well, you can't really just accept that. So I get why the Jaguars are trying different things, but it does go back to, if you can't pick up 3rd and 1 on 2 carries,
you can't run the ball.
Yeah, and you sort of say, hey, maybe we're not good enough, and I don't think they're ready to accept that yet. Just
one more thought on this, and that is that Doug Peterson, and John has alluded to this for more than a year, Doug Peterson is never going to come in here and be that 32-carry coach. He's not going to call for the ball to be the running game to be the dominant phase of his offense. It's not what he believes as a former quarterback and what an offense looks like in the modern era. But running the football is about getting the yard or 4 when you want to get that yard or 4. And in the Jaguars' history, they have generally been that team that could get what they wanted when they wanted to take those yards. Right now, they want it and they can't get it. That's what we have to watch over the last 8 games of the season. Can they evolve into a team that says, we need to, we want to run the ball, we're going to get it?
Yeah, I think I want to clarify, because Doug believes you have to run. What he doesn't believe, from what in conversations I've had with him and been around, that if you're stacked 8 in the box, I'm not going to come out and run just to prove I have big muscles and I'm going to establish the run. He's not that. But if the look is there, then he believes you need to be able to run against a look. And I'm probably not saying it exactly right, but I think that's close.
That.
So I think that's where, the other day people were saying, well, why didn't he run the ball more early? Well, he's not going to come out just to, okay, I'm going to be a big man and run the ball against this. If the look doesn't dictate that it's going to work, he's also not going to be dumb about it. And that's an Andy Reid philosophy. Sometimes when people talk about why is their passing game so horizontal? Well, some of that is the horizontal passing game. Some of that school believes that that's a big part of your running game. So that's a little bit of a philosophical difference that's different from what it was in the 80s and late 70s.
Reid was a Holmgren guy. Holmgren was a Bill Walsh guy. It's West Coast. It makes sense. That was very successful for a long period of time.
Let's go to our final big thing today, and that's the bully. As we look ahead to Sunday, the Titans are coming to town. They are always physical, at least in our minds, because of what Derrick Henry's been able to do over the last couple of seasons, but this team is a little bit different now. They've got a rookie at quarterback. Derrick Henry is getting towards the end of things, but he's still so dominant when he's on.
Eddie George before that. I mean, the Titans just have this caveman mentality about running the ball, and when they brought in Ryan Tannehill a couple years ago, and he was not a success in Miami, but all of a sudden he's got that big bulldozer behind him, sucks the safeties up to the line of scrimmage, and he's going over the top. Henry might not be, and I don't believe that he is, obviously, the same guy, but if you dare them, they'll put the ball in his hands 25 times. And as we saw last year, he had some good numbers against the Jaguars because it was, 3, -3, then 33.
Yeah.
He can still do that. He's still dangerous. Here's my point on bully. Ready? These guys have been the bully, but they're about to start a transition to a completely different personnel group and style of play. And it feels like the Texans now are coming hard and fast. Like, we're here. And the Jaguars are the best roster in this division. They are the big dog in the AFC South right now. They better be the bully on Sunday and next Sunday as well. They better send the message that the South is ours. It was yours. It ain't yours again. It's ours. And the only way you do that is to beat people up on the line of scrimmage. That's how you get it done.
Yeah, I think especially for the Jaguars defense, this is an important game, and it's a game they should, on paper, match up well against. San Francisco, obviously, very good running the ball. 144 yards the Jaguars allowed, which is season high. There's been a lot bigger season highs around here before.
Well, a lot of that was when the game had already been decided.
Right.
And they
So,
were burning clock.
the Titans, so far this season, this Titans offensive line is not your father's Titans offensive line.
Or the Oilers.
So a Jaguars defense that I still believe is very good stopping the run should match up against this. And Derrick Henry's still very capable. What he's not been able to do this year, they haven't been able to stick with it for long enough where he can just wear you down and get into the fourth quarter and be big man Derrick Henry. So if they can stop him early, get a lead, I don't think it'll be a factor. But he's clearly good enough still. I think he'll have 3 or 4 great games this year, Derrick Henry. Let's not have Sunday be one of them.
Right.
All right, stay with us. Coming up after the break, we're going to go around the league at some of the goings-ons right here on Jags A.M.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
In partnership with Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, any Jaguars ticket holders who are unable to attend a Jaguars home game can donate their future tickets to a Jacksonville area first responder. Visit jaguars.com/members and click Manage Account. Sign into your account and click Manage Tickets and Parking. Select the game tickets, click on the More button, and then choose to donate to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation. Firehouse Subs is dedicated to impacting the life-saving capabilities and the lives of local heroes and communities. For more information, visit firehousesubsfoundation.org. Crown Royal's That Deserves a Crown program recognizes local heroes for making a positive impact in the community. The Jaguars and Crown Royal are giving back to those who served this season, celebrating these individuals with the ultimate VIP Jaguars home game experience. Nominate someone who deserves a crown today at jaguars.com/Crown Royal Promotion. Please drink responsibly.
For 10 years, Dreamfinders Homes has been proud to call themselves the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You can visit dreamfindershomes.com for all of the available inventory, and go Jags. Welcome back to Jags A.M. It's presented by Fields Auto Group Jacksonville. Step up to luxury at fieldsauto.com. We're in the Hyundai Studios. We talked a little bit about Texans. We're going to get more into Titans as the week goes on, but we kind of want to look around the league as well, because there's a couple of things that are pretty relevant to us, or at least former players on this team as well. One of them being Riley Patterson, who kicked a game-winning field goal again against the Chargers. And then also JaMycal Hasty got dropped by the team earlier this week and then claimed by the Patriots off waivers. And then we look at the Bills, because, I mean, it's always nice to look at other situations that are going worse than your own situation, make you feel a little bit better about it, because they lost to the Broncos in frustrating fashion. They fire their offensive coordinator, and they're doing all the changes, which kind
Fire
of...
the coach! Fire the coach, Brian!
It's
That's always the
panic
solution.
mode! It's panic mode.
Always fire the coach.
I mean...
I don't
an interesting solution to their problems. I doubt it will be, but
just to bring this up real quick, did you see that the Bills logo was painted on the Broncos practice field last week? I thought that was an interesting motivational tactic by Sean Payton for his team. Here's the relevance. Josh Allen has 11 interceptions to lead the league.
That's coach's fault. Coach's fault.
When they came to London, that team was on a 3-game winning streak. They had averaged 42 points in the 3 wins and allowed only 10, and nothing seems to be working for them. And truthfully, as bad a game as Trevor Lawrence said he played, right? He called it his worst game in the postgame on Sunday. No one's paying any attention, because Josh Allen and the Bills were supposed to be a contender in the AFC. And right now, Josh Allen, it looks like he has fallen off a cliff. Do I think he can get it back? Yeah, he's a big, talented guy. Will he? Stay tuned.
Well, it's always been the MO with Josh is you're concerned about the interceptions and sometimes being a little loose with the, I don't cover him, but the perception is he's loose with the ball going for the big plays. I just get tired of the turnkey solution always being
You can fire the coach.
Fire the coach. I don't think the coach is throwing the 11 interceptions, but that's the world we live in.
No, and Sean McDermott said he had to do something. I mean, we've seen it around here in
coaches get it. I'm not
2018
saying
where Doug Marrone fired his friend Nathaniel Hackett,
right?
And Hackett went to Green Bay and succeeded. So it isn't fire the coach. Ken Dorsey wasn't the problem. I don't think play calling was the issue. You have a quarterback who he's so big and he thinks he can do anything.
Right.
Even squeeze the ball into windows it shouldn't be squeezed into. So, and for what it's worth, Trayvon Diggs didn't blame Ken Dorsey. He blamed Josh Allen.
let's all point the fingers at each other, because that's what's going on.
Well, that was his brother.
I did like the Riley Patterson game-winning field goal.
Yeah, good for him.
If
Nice
only
kid.
because I know it kind of came out of the blue. Obviously, you got to pick up Brandon McManus if he's available, but Patterson kind of getting cut out of the blue in training camp and then finding a new home in Detroit, and also it's at the expense of the Chargers, so that's always interesting when that comes down to it. But I mean, he seems to have their number, so I was happy to see that for him for sure.
Yeah, he is a nice kid, and there were some people who asked me what was the matter with Riley Patterson. Well, if you go back and watch his field goal attempt, the game winner against the Chargers here, I mean, it just barely slid in. And you don't see anything just barely with McManus. He's going to kick indoors most of the time.
Yep.
And he's a good kicker. Good for him.
Look, this is half the kickers in the league have this career path where it's 3 or 4 teams early. Look at Jason Myers, maybe one of the best kickers in the league, was here and was the object of ridicule from fans a lot because he missed a couple field goals. And early in his career did struggle at times. About probably should have been cut, now deserves the accolades as being one of the best clutch kickers in the game. So it's the path. I'm not sure. I don't know if McManus was with the Broncos from the very start. I think he hopped around. Most of them hop around. Yeah. It's a tough business to start in until you get trust from your team.
I tell you, I was standing on the sidelines as he was lining up Patterson, the game winner against the Chargers last January. And I remember thinking, my goodness, the pressure that is on him right now. What must he be thinking?
Better make this kick.
Yeah, this seems pretty obvious. But I just, as he's lining up and the whole stadium is holding its breath and it's all on him and his leg, it was, it's a tough job. People don't think of it that way, but it is a tough job.
You have to have a certain personality for it. Same as they say about goalies in hockey, right? You have to be ready.
Because you're going to lose some games.
Absolutely. You're going to have to deal with it and take the brunt of that from everyone. Our final one is kind of just the mix-up with the running back room a little bit. JaMychal Hasty was waived from the team and actually claimed by 3 teams on waivers. He's going to end up with the Patriots. But that opens things up here a little bit. We saw a little bit more of Dearness Johnson than we've seen in the past game, and he had some success out there, but Tank is just that trouble spot. And it's not his fault. I didn't feel like that pick that went off of his hands, but it's like, what do you do with it? You know, you need to keep using him, but it's getting to a weird point now.
Well, I mean, I think John has said it a couple of times. You know, when the game is on the line, you're probably not going to put him in, right? You're going to give the ball to Travis. But, you know, bookmark this moment, you know, today. When I say it, a year from now, people will be like, wow, this kid is a really good football player, and they're going to need him. And you can't screw with his confidence. You just got to keep giving him the ball and let him have success. And it will help, John, if the interior of the offensive line, as Doug alluded to on Monday in his press conference, gets better with more time together and continuity, Walker and Fortner and Sheriff playing together, and then you can put him in there and let him gain 4 yards, 14 yards, and start to build something. He hasn't had that chance yet.
Yeah, I think Tank's going to be good. I don't know when it's going to happen, because I think he's going to need a stretch where he gets 10 carries.
Yeah.
I don't know if the way it's set up with Travis playing so well, if it's going to be realistic to give him time to get into the flow. Think about Travis this year. If he was only getting 3 carries a game, how good would he be?
Right.
Because he has needed those moments where, okay, I hit the hole and I get 17. So I think at some point we're going to be talking to Tank Bixby at his locker, and everybody's going to be realizing, hey, this kid's good. I think it will be tough for him to reach that in this circumstance, maybe a little through no fault of his own.
We just got done talking about kickers and how kickers need time. They're going to make some misses. They may need to go to 2 or 3 teams. Running backs, young running backs do too. Young players need that time. He needs the time on task. They just need to find a window where maybe in the second half, in some game this year, they have a lead and go, Tank, it's your time. You know, here's 10 carries, go.
Does have a good sounding board in Travis Etienne as well, who had issues earlier in his career last year and has moved forward with that. So I think that definitely is helping Tank, because your confidence can be an issue at this point as well with some of the issues that he's had. Stay with us after the break. We're going to go over this or that here on Jags A.M.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dream Finders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Hey Jags Nation, it's Andre Sisco, safety of your Jacksonville Jaguars, here to talk to you about Luray Peanut Company. Luray is bringing something to the market that has never been done before, microwavable boiled peanuts. Whether you like salty or a peppery Cajun kick, they've got you covered. Now, thanks to them, y'all can enjoy boiled peanuts at the bank while you watch me and the rest of the team tear it up on the field. Can't make the game? No sweat. Find a bag at a store nearest to you by heading to LurayPeanut.com/find us. Go nuts, go Jags, and as always, Duval.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Price.com is the easiest way to save money with comparison shopping, cashback coupons, all that in one. It's free. You can try Price.com today.
This or that. This or that.
Price.com brings us this or that this week, where we try to compare a couple of different things. Brian, what's your this or that for us?
Well, I alluded to it early, and that is the offensive line and the defensive line. Neither one of them played very well against the Niners, and the reason that we pointed out is because the Niners are good on both lines, right? So there's a little bit of margin for error there that it was going to be tough for both sides. But, heading into Sunday's game against the Titans, what gives you more concern? The Jaguars' offensive line against Jeffrey Simmons or the Jaguars' defensive line against Derrick Henry?
I think it's an easy choice. I think the offensive line, this Jaguars defensive line to me has had one or two games, but for the most part has been, I think you could argue that and Travis Etienne have been the strength of the team. I think they'll bounce back. I think the offensive line, I expect Walker Little to start again. I think they're going to give that group time to get cohesion. History so far this year has shown they bounce back pretty well. So I think they will, but I think they need to.
If they don't bounce back, then I will be very angsty if the defensive line doesn't bounce back, because, as John mentioned, it is the strong suit of the team. The O-line is where the question marks are. That was the first game we've seen the full starting cast of what they wanted for their offensive line, so you could argue that was the first game, but it was a pretty not great first game. So
I don't know if people have
great.
Full appreciation of how good Jeffrey Simmons is. I know Chris Jones is thought of as the best defensive tackle in football right now. This guy's not far from him. He was very good in both games last year against this team, and he was playing on a bum ankle. He's healthy this year. Watch out.
John, what do you got for us this week?
I went with, is this a crisis or a setback? And I don't know. And I don't think it's a crisis. Crisis or bounce back. One-off. I think it's a one-off. I don't think that we will see the emails, Brian. It's like they've lost 5 games in a row and have never played football before. This is still a team that's won 11 of 14 games. It won 5 straight games going into this last game. I still think the same things that enabled them to beat good teams, not great teams, but they beat good teams this year. I think those things are there, and I think that will be enough. 8 games left. I think that's enough to win 5 or 6 of those last 8 games, right, which gets you to what, 11 or 12 wins. That's
better than 9.
You've covered a bunch of 12 win seasons. 12 win seasons, right?
12 lost seasons too. Yeah.
So they still have a chance to be really, really good. So I think it's a one-off.
I think it's a one-off, but we're going to find out because they've not played well against the better teams at home, right? Kansas City, and let's not forget Houston, but Kansas City and San Francisco in particular. You've got the Bengals and the Ravens coming up, in a matter of weeks here in prime time at home. We're going to find out whether it's a home curse or whatever you want to call it. But it feels like a one-off because we've seen this team play well. We've seen them overcome the adversity of 5 different games in 5 different stadiums in 6 different time zones, all that stuff. Across 6 different time zones. So I think it's a one-off. We luckily are going to have the opportunity to find out for sure over the next couple of weeks.
I think it's a one-off too. I'm hoping so, but I think some of the issues that are repetitive that haven't been addressed are the problems that I'm having. The offensive line, not getting the passing game going, those are issues that have not progressed at this point. So that is something that I'm going to keep an eye on, because I definitely think they can beat the Titans, but if they're doing it in a way where they did on their 5-game win streak, have they really gotten any better, or are they just kind of maintaining status quo? So my this or that this week is a little bit about that. Do you stand pat and try to keep going? It's week 11. They've been trying to do that. Or do you mix things up? When Ezra Cleveland is ready, do you put him into the lineup on offensive line? We know he plays a good left guard. Walker Little, we haven't seen him there a ton. People do find that he can play different positions, but do you put him in there and kind of use Walker as the swing tackle at that point?
Well, that would be the only thing you could really change up on the roster, right? Because you're dealing with so many injuries in the defensive backfield. There's not a lot you can do there. I don't know. I think I would tend to stand pat. You've got a lot of money in Brandon Sheriff. He is no longer the 5-time Pro Bowl guy, but he's still a pretty good player. And Walker Little hasn't played a whole lot of left guard. I go back to a guy who I kept hammering at, and that was Luke Fortner. And the coach defended him, saying he needs better guard play. Better guard play, consistent guard play. I don't think you change that up yet.
Yeah, part of the issue with the offensive line has been they haven't played together yet. So do you move Walker Little out, put Ezra Cleveland in after one, and then what happens if he doesn't play well? Then you move it back. So I think this is probably the week to try to get some continuity. And hope that Walker Little, they believe is a good play. I mean, it's funny. Until Sunday, Walker Little was the best offensive lineman on this team, remember?
Wait, yep.
So let's give that a chance, not panic, and see if some continuity there and not playing against a great, I'm not saying Jeffrey Simmons isn't good, but I don't think you would think that the Titans' defensive line is as monstrous right now as the 49ers. So let's see how they can do against, and I guess get their feet wet a little bit before you make another change. I would think that's how they go.
I think part of it too is getting Trevor to believe he's feeling protected as well, because you can tell by the way he's moving his feet out there, he doesn't feel safe in the pocket. So that's obviously affecting a lot of what the offense has been able to do or not been able to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel safe right there either.
I don't feel safe. It's not safe here. So that's definitely something that they're going to have to work on. All bond together, feel a little safe together. Stay with us. We'll talk about what we got going on the rest of the week here on Jags A.M.
Home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dream Finders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguars sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguars sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
iPhone 15 Pro on Verizon.
This holiday, trade in any iPhone in any condition for the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All on us with Unlimited Ultimate. Go to your local Verizon store now. 6 months of Apple One, then $10 per month. $999.99 device payment or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on Unlimited Ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR. Apple TV 4K and Apple One offers require eligible phone purchase with activation on Unlimited Ultimate. Additional terms and conditions apply. Visit Verizon.com for details.
Jags fans, if you want customized Jaguars furniture for your home, check out zipchair.com to browse all customizable options. ZipChair is furniture made for fans. And this weekend's game against the Titans is delivered by CSX. CSX is how tomorrow moves.
I hate losing. I feel like no one loves to lose. And I feel like we don't come here and work our butts off every day to go out there and put performance out there like that. And I feel like it's unfair to our fans to even go out there and do that. So we definitely got to all let it simmer and just kind of use this as fuel to propel us throughout the rest of the season.
Travis talking, it's unfair the fans had to watch that. That's probably true on Sunday that they had to watch that at home. They always seem to get up for the Titans, though, so I expect a much better matchup.
Yeah, it's strange because the Titans, for guys like John and I who were here, when they were the Oilers in the early days and Jeff Fisher was mouthing off, it became a bit of a natural rivalry, and then it kind of flowed away. And it's been a long time since the rivalry was as heated, especially with the Jags winning both those games last year. But it's funny, I think Doug has done a nice job of reminding these players of the history of the franchise. And, it's easy to get up when they have some good players who can embarrass you.
Yeah, the Jaguars weren't very good for a long time, so rivalries tend to fade. So they're back. Trevor had the look at the scoreboard moment last year in the stiff arm.
Yeah.
That's always fun. I think rivalries where they talk a little bit and they clearly want to beat the other guy and they're thinking about the other team, That's what it's all about. It's supposed to be fun.
Steelers can't be your rivalry because they're not on the schedule every year. And though Kansas City has been the last couple of years, they're not on it every year either. The Titans, the Colts, and the Texans, you've got to carve rivalries from them so that you fill your stadium and people get up for the games. And it's nice to see some of that coming back.
We see one brewing in Houston as well.
You sure do.
So stay with us. We're going to fully preview that Titans matchup for you tomorrow right here on Jags A.M. We'll see you then.